on the downtown El Segundo campus of DirecTV. And Southern California is home to the Dan Patrick Show all week long, as the host does a little bit of double duty with Sports Jeopardy. He is the host back here on the program. DP, good to see you, Dan Patrick.
Rich.
So you're Sports Jeopardying this week.
Yep.
How many episodes you?
12.
That's grind. That's a grind, right? How many a day are you doing?
I'm doing 4 a day. I do Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
And then they ease off beginning of the week and then load up at the end of the week.
How many of these questions, or answers, pardon me, in the form of a question,
yes,
would you know a percentage yourself of the Sports Jeopardy questions?
75 to 80.
No kidding.
Yes. But you can know it, but not know it in the moment.
To get in
That's
that buzzer.
the key.
To get in the buzzer.
Because guys will hold the buzzer and they think the harder they push, that somehow they're going to supersede the person who's buzzed in before them. I'll just squeeze harder, then I'll get in. And it doesn't work that way.
So it's about the thumb quickness,
yes,
not the thumb pressure.
Yes.
But that's got to be a big mistake on the part of these guests.
But there are times when you'll look at a clue and you'll think, well, I would know that.
Yeah.
But then would I know that in the moment? And that's the key, because you're looking at a category, boom. And then a lot of times they'll see the category, they'll see the clue, and then they'll buzz in.
Right.
But they're doing it without even going through the full clue.
What's your relationship with Trebek, DP?
It's great. He couldn't have been more accommodating. He helped me. He said, tell me whatever you need to know, whatever you want to ask me. Took me out to dinner.
He did?
Yeah. And we just sat.
Did he pick up the bill?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I mean, Sony didn't pick it up? He didn't expense it,
well, I don't know where it went down the paper trail, but I know that Alex put down his credit card.
So did you order extra?
I didn't know he was going to put down his credit card, or I would have.
Okay. You didn't say, what is going Dutch, and put down yours? You didn't do that?
No, I did not. But he was great. It was just,
That's cool.
It's an intimidating stage to be on. When you walk out on that Jeopardy set.
Dan, you've given out Lombardi trophies.
This was different. This wasn't in my element. This was game show on the set of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Across the way is Wheel of Fortune. I mean, these are 2 iconic shows. And you're working with people who have been doing Jeopardy with Alex Trebek for 30 years. So I didn't want to embarrass myself. And finally, they have a floor director, Johnny Lauderdale. And Johnny goes, hey, Alex, he screws up all the time. Stop worrying about it. And I went, wait, Alex makes mistakes? He goes, yes, he makes mistakes all the time.
Right.
And from then on, I just relaxed because I was trying to be perfect. And you know what happens when you're trying to be perfect.
Well, you aren't. But I notice Alex, what he does sometimes is when it's incorrect, he'll have different levels of disappointment.
Yeah.
Where it's in his voice.
Yeah.
But my favorite one is he'll give you the correct answer after you're incorrect, and then you hear sort of the squeak of his Sharpie go through the square just to that one was incorrect.
Yeah.
You hear it like he uses the Sharpie as a weapon.
It's one of those pencils, grease
that what
pencils.
It is? Okay.
And he gave me a grease pencil.
No way.
That was sort of passing the baton of sorts in a grease pencil. And so when somebody gets done, you cross it out.
So you know.
So that way you know how many, clues are left, what categories are left. But he gave me the.
It just looks like he's got a certain level of disapproval when he X's it out. Sort of in a way when Bryant Gumbel maybe makes a notation with something he doesn't agree with on Real Sports, Dan. You know where I'm going with
Yes, I
this?
do. But I don't think Bryant's writing down anything.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. I don't.
What is it? It's just like doodling? You think he's doodling?
I think that's what you used to do when you did local sports. Like you would be done with it and you'd say, all right, Sally and Harry, back to you. And then you'd sort of scribble down. Or they would show you at the end of Sports Center and you'd write down something. We would do that. I would write it down. And I would write right. W-R-I-T. Yeah, right. I would write down right.
It's what you would write down.
Yes.
You were not doing anything.
No, there was nothing to do because you're on camera for about 7 seconds, maybe a little bit longer.
That's when you go
even
like this
right?
with your script,
yeah, exactly.
where you take your papers and you make sure that they're all in straight, and then you get them all like that.
Yeah, we do a lot of odd little things, little ticks.
Yeah. Do you hold a pen during and on camera?
Yes.
Why? I don't understand why people in our business hold the pen while they have an on-camera.
Because I don't know. You may say something, and I've got to write it down.
You got to take a
note. But you never do, so I never write anything down.
I'm staring at the teleprompter. Last thing I'm going to be doing is unsheathing a pen and making a notation, right? Or is it just a crutch? Is that
it
a
is
crutch?
a crutch, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you have any other crutches that I should know about?
Alcohol. You're talking about on the air, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, alcohol. Yeah, it's a crutch. To get through this, alcohol.
This show
Yes.
right now?
Yes.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dan Patrick here on the Rich Eisen Show. So Ronda Rousey, where does she rank to you right now in terms of athletes of our time, Dan, generation? Where do you put Ronda Rousey right now?
Wow. Of our generation?
Yeah. She's
Well,
got a heck of a lot of eyeballs on
absolutely.
her right now.
There's a fascination to her like there was Mike Tyson. But there was a lot more in the pool for Tyson to go through. Ronda Rousey, there's only how many women that she can actually fight. Mm-hmm. And then she already fought one woman twice. So she's great in what she's doing. There's just not a lot of people that she can go up against.
Right.
So I think given the small field, she's dominating a small field. So I don't know how you're able to, you can't do apples to apples with this.
There's not going to be a Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs moment here. I mean,
no.
how can...
Well, no, you couldn't have somebody who's 30 years older than her get into the octagon.
That's true. I'm just talking about men versus women.
No,
period.
but we always want to compare. A woman's great. Well, how would she do against a man? She doesn't have to compete against a man to be great. Serena Williams is great. If she lost to the 100th ranked player, then that's going to diminish or somehow diminish what she's done. She's going to be the greatest women's tennis player of all time. Annika Sorenstam, okay, she didn't do great against the men, but she was still great at what she did. We get caught up in, well, could Brittany Griner play in the NBA? I don't know. But I don't have to have a woman compared to a man to understand her greatness.
Exactly. And her greatness right now, that's what I said. I didn't understand why they put her out there at 2 in the morning Eastern time. That made no sense to me. Because how many sports, for instance, Major League Baseball would love to have a Ronda Rousey type figure where we have to tune in every time somebody either takes the mound or steps to the plate. Must. The whole country needs to see this. Every sport would love to have somebody like Ronda Rousey be a difference maker.
Yeah.
And here they have her, and at 2 in the morning. That one I didn't get.
I think that her future is to be the female version of The Rock as far as an action hero.
And an actress.
Yes, absolutely. I said that from the beginning. I could see her. This was 2 years ago when we had her on, and I said, I see you as, in the movies. And she said, well, I'd love to be. Mm-hmm. And I thought like the Hunger Games or something. I'd heard that she was going to be in the Hunger Games. And I just think she's got a personality. You can't help but love her unless you're fighting her.
Right. And
she just understands a bigger picture there. You mentioned Roddy Piper and that she understood that. To pay tribute to him. She's a cool woman.
Yeah, I know.
She really is.
I know. I love everything about her and what she's doing, and that was just, it's unbelievable. 34 seconds. Again.
But then people want to say, oh, it's like Mike Tyson. Ronda Rousey will fight whoever's in front of her. Mm-hmm. Tyson didn't fight everybody in front of him. Like Tyson was marketed brilliantly. Mm-hmm. He didn't fight. How many great fighters did he fight? How many great fighters did he beat? And the answer is none.
That's true.
He didn't beat anybody. But he was this tour de force that he would come out of the corner with his black shoes, no socks, no robe, and he was coming across to kill you.
And just like every other opponent that we see for Rousey, every opponent of Mike Tyson's looked fearful, like just knee-knocking, fearful as to what was going on.
I saw 2 fights ringside with Tyson, and I actually saw fear in Marvis Frazier, Joe Frazier's son, and Michael Spinks.
Oh, Spinks, yeah, you could see that.
It's like you never see fear in the ring, and that's where you're ringside, and I go, oh my God.
This thing's going to be over.
This is going to be over. It's just, is somebody going to like rock'em sock'em robots where they lose their head? And Rousey has that feeling. Like part of her, I think, says, it'd be better TV if I let you hold on for a little while. But she can't. Like she just says, I got to get this over with.
Dan Patrick is here on the Rich Eisen Show, back in 60 ticks of the clock with more with Dan Patrick. We'll talk Chip Kelly and more when we return to the program. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. David Price is making his Toronto debut while we're chatting, Dan Patrick.
Oh, nice.
Torrey Hunter has gone yard on David Price, and it's 1-0 Twins top second. Which is the biggest deadline Major League Baseball deal that you think is the most impactful, DP?
Well, sometimes people forget that deadline deals aren't necessarily right at the trade deadline. You can still make a deal leading up to that a week before, 2 weeks before. I thought Price with Tulowitzki, and the key sometimes is to keep somebody from somebody else. The Rangers getting Cole Hamels kept him from going to the Dodgers or going to the Yankees. David Price going to Toronto kept him from perhaps going to the Yankees or another contender. So I would look at Toronto with what they did with Tulowitzki and Price. I mean, that's as all in as you can be.
Yeah, and Houston with Kazmir and Carlos Gomez. Did you ever see anything that went happened with the Mets last week? Have you seen anything like that where a player's crying because he thought he was traded and then wasn't after all?
Social media. That it's out there, the fans have it, they have the information, then they're yelling to him that you've been traded to Milwaukee. Well, he's thinking, wait, what are you talking about? His manager doesn't even know he's being traded.
And social media is definitely at the heart of that. And in that way, the Junior Seau story, the headlines that Junior Seau will not be allowed to, Sidney Seau will not be allowed to speak at the induction ceremony. That's a 140-character headline that gets tweeted out everywhere, without knowing that the Hall of Fame has said, well, she's part of a presentation video. She will be interviewed in the commercial break. She's going to be part of this the entire week. It's not like they were muzzling her in any way, shape, or form, but that comes out. And then this weekend comes out, she will be allowed to speak after all, even though the only difference between what they told the family and what was expected to be given the family and what it is now she's going to be interviewed in a commercial break during the live broadcast, after or before the presentation. So the question is what world are we living in? Are we living in a 140-character world more often than not now, or am I making too much of this, Dan?
I thought you were when we spoke over the weekend. I thought you had an opinion, you weren't budging off of it. My point is, if you want to streamline the whole broadcast, then have everybody adhere to 15 minutes, 18 minutes. Don't tell me that we can't have somebody who died, so you're going to honor them posthumously, but you can't speak because we got to keep this thing moving. They don't keep it moving. And if you're going to keep it moving, have everybody adhere to a 15 or 20-minute max, and that's it. And you're very steadfast with that.
What do you do when somebody goes past it? You play them off like it's the Academy Awards?
You have to. You say, look, we do not want to embarrass you on your night. Practice this. Understand this is as much time as you get. We have to be fair to everybody else. Understand that. You're a part of a team sport. It's a team effort up here on the podium. Keep it to this amount of time so we can keep this moving. That's all. So you can't use the excuse, well, we can't have somebody up there posthumously talking about their dad or their husband. Why? Sometimes those speeches are going to be better than what we're going to hear.
Well, in that respect, Sarah White, on behalf of the only other, since I've been doing this for 12 years, the only other first ballot posthumous inductee was Reggie White, who died, of sleep apnea after retiring and before his induction. Sarah White, his wife, gave a stupendous speech on his behalf, and it was set up by an excellent presenting speech by his son Jeremy too. But the presenters would frequently go longer than the inductees, and that's why they put all the presenters in a video to keep that moving along.
I like that.
That was the same year, though, that they came up with this rule that from now on posthumous inductees don't get a speech.
Okay, but is it the presenter that went too long, and therefore that's why they put this rule in place? And if that's the case, you say to the presenter, we're going to do a video, and this is how long it's going to be. Make it that long, or we're going to edit it. That's all.
Well, in terms of editing, I mean, are you part of the media that believes that the NFL has some sort of hand behind this? Because that's what's the underlying thing that I've been trying to correct from the beginning. Were
they gonna edit her speech? Were they gonna edit it anyway?
What speech?
If she was going to do a videotape, wasn't she?
She is doing a videotape.
So are they going to edit that?
It's now 6.5 minutes long.
Okay, but did they edit it?
I believe the NFL Films edited it, yes.
Okay. Just the fact
they
when
edit all of them, though. They edit all of these videos.
But I think, my point is, I think that Sydney Sale would be more must-see TV than anybody else's induction ceremony speech. And it would resonate more with us to truly understand what we watch, and that Junior Sale daughter talking about living with her father who was going through this. You're going to talk about a lot of positive things there. You're going to talk about the greatness of Junior Seau. But this is part of who he was. This is part of the game he played. And I think to hear her, the NFL doesn't want to hear it, and I know there's a lawsuit there. I just think if you're going to be transparent, as the NFL says they are, be transparent.
But this rule was in place
but it's
before.
I know.
And now everybody is viewing this through the prism. And
you're right.
Most 95% of those who haven't been to an induction ceremony and are writing about this all come from the point of view of the NFL does not want her to talk. And that makes no sense.
Well, but how they were letting her talk, now she'll be live during commercial break. And
no, she's going to be live during the broadcast itself.
But at first she wasn't. And then it felt like they were hiding her in a corner.
But they do that with all presenters. All of them are interviewed in a commercial break backstage. Now she's going to be on stage.
I think they could have handled it in a way to say, if you're going to, there's no presentation, there's no presenter, we will let you speak, and this is, and we're going to tell everybody that this is how long we're going to go. I've been to those speeches, and it's so, they just drags on in Canton. It's so hot in August, and you're just going, okay, make it, it's a TV show. Then make it a TV show. We do it with Academy Award winners. We tell you how long you spent, who knows how long, your life on a movie.
Yeah.
We say wrap it up in 60 seconds. What's the difference here? It's TV. Make it a TV show.
And just play them off stage.
Just say, guys, here we go. Presenters, you got this amount of time. If not, we have to edit it down. Please understand, we want this to be a great show and a great tribute to your father or your husband or whoever it might be.
Dan Patrick is here on the Rich Eisen Show. I want to play this quick soundbite here. Okay. This is Chip Kelly over the weekend after Brandon Boykin was the latest to say the reason why Kelly's shipped him out is because of race.
Okay.
Does it bother you personally that multiple guys have made these comments on the way out?
Yeah, it does. But, the reality is we have 90 guys, and you're going to have to cut to 53, so 37 guys are going to be disappointed. And obviously, I would imagine all 37 of those guys have a different opinion than we have as a staff, but that's what you have to do, and that's what we're charged to do.
What do you make of all this, Dan? What do you think?
Well,
I'm sure you talked about it on your show today.
I did a Jim Mora, UCLA head coach, on, and I said, what do you think of this? And he said, well, anybody who's been around Chip Kelly knows he doesn't interact with his players well. And I said he's socially awkward, which Chip is. And he said, yes, you could say that. Chip is not one of those feel-good, hey, buddy, he's not one of those guys. He's a smart guy who coaches football. I don't think he sits there and says, hey, let me ask you about, the new Rihanna song, or did you go see, Mad Max, or gosh, can't believe Minions is over $1 billion. Like, that's not who he is. He's a guy who loves football, and I don't think there's an agenda. But how do you say you're not a racist? What's Chip Kelly say? No, I got a lot of black friends. I mean, they put him in a really tough position, these guys, who have an axe to grind because they got cut.
Or traded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? He didn't want Andy Reid's players. Look at Chip Kelly. Look at his M.O. at Oregon. He brought in players. He made them stars. Mariota had one other scholarship offer. That's it. Chip Kelly made him a good football player. His wide receivers, he doesn't get 5-star recruits at Oregon. He made them, he wants his type of players. And so, somebody got cut. Okay. Deshaun Jackson, he didn't want his personality. Maybe he didn't want LaShawn McCoy. Look at LaShawn McCoy's personality since then.
DeMarco Murray is actually going to be a better runner for his system, I believe.
Yes, but that's why he brought him in.
Foot down, find the hole.
Yes, he doesn't want you, juking like that. So I looked at it and said, these are disgruntled ex-employees, And if guys don't want to, he's not getting Jason Sehorn to play cornerback, so he has a white cornerback. Like he's going to have another African American playing the position, but it's not like you can go, boy, he doesn't like people of our culture. No, he doesn't like you.
That's right.
He's going to like somebody a lot better than you.
Have you seen Minions? Have you seen Minions?
I have not seen Minions.
What's the last movie you saw, Dan?
I saw Pixels.
Okay.
That I was in.
Well, see, you're a Sandler guy through and through.
Yes, I am.
You were in Pixels. With
Yes,
the Dan
I
ass.
saw Mad Max,
Nice.
but I didn't love it.
Really, I've been told it's like the biggest tour de force that I need to see.
It was unbelievable. It was so spectacular. I have no idea what the storyline was.
Exactly.
It's post-apocalyptic.
I don't know what it's about.
All I know is Charlize Theron was in it, so I watched.
And she has one arm.
And she looked great.
Great.
And the director on the billboards was referred to as a mastermind, which, by the way, I would love to have that as a part of my promotion in any way, shape, or form.
But it was like special effects were unbelievable.
Visually amazing.
Yes.
I don't know what it's about. I have no idea.
I didn't know.
They start,
like there were
they start in
speeches.
one place, they kind of drive and go to another place, and they're like, oh, let's go back to the other place.
And
that was
I
the
wasn't
movie.
sure who was a bad guy and a good guy, and
Right.
who's getting killed and how they're getting killed. And
But
wait,
they-
he didn't get killed, and he
But they're smashing it up, though.
Didn't get it.
Yes, they were.
I didn't get it.
DP, I will see you on your show Wednesday.
Yes.
I will see you this week.
Thank
Keith,
you.
Who's on tomorrow? Who's on
Got
DP's show?
Keith Morrison, Dateline. By the way, fantastic booking. I love.
Oh,
I mean,
we
Keith
worked on
Morrison's-
that one. I kept saying I got to have Keith Morrison on just to have him say that pesky DNA.
Those stand-ups he does with the wind blowing his hair, they're so
he's-
good and creepy.
But when he goes to break on Dateline, that's when it's great. I'll watch Dateline just to hear him say something about.
Do you want to throw the break on this show? for
Oh, I
this
don't know if I
segment
could do
as
it that
him?
way, but
No?
it was more of the
You did have a walk-off last time you left
dog
the show.
was barking. Wait, that wasn't a dog? Like you're just going, wait, what did he just say? It's always awesome.
We'll
Yes.
be
Shield
back.
Sands also on the show tomorrow.
Yes.
Terrific.
Yes.
DP, I'll see you
Thank you,
Wednesday.
buddy.
I'll
Thank
be on
you.
the show Wednesday. Dan Patrick
Put
right
the
here
glasses
on the
on.
Rich Eisen Show.
Put
All right,
the-
I'll put the glasses
Put
on.
the glasses on. Here we go.
Here we go. Glasses versus glasses.
Yeah.
That's right. I
You
just put
look
them
a
on.
little like a whiter JB Smoot. Like just a little bit. Like,
Gotta get in that, Larry.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.